Live. Okay. Hello, guys, and welcome to the Newcastle United vs Man United preview. I'm Clinton Ford, your host, and today we've got a bit of a different lineup. We've got Pete joining us shortly, but instead of Fumbi, we've got my guy Sharky from Toon Army TV. How you doing, Sharky, bro? How you doing?
Yeah, how's it going, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm all good. You caught me like halfway through my food. So bear with me, guys. People listening in and watching in, I will be probably going back for it because I'm starving. And as we talk, we got Pete joining us as well. So I caught you halfway rubbing your eyes as well.
Yeah.
Here he is.
How you doing, Pete? You all right?
Yeah, well, good. Just we're down here. We're finished for hot term now, so just enjoying the fact that we've got a week off to come. So good.
All good. Okay. First thing first, before we go, how have you both been like without Newcastle football? Because again, these international breaks for me are just such a bore. I didn't even watch the last game. I genuinely forgot it was on. Like, you know what I mean? I genuinely forgot. I didn't even. Someone said, "Oh, England played today." Oh, did they? Like, it's just that. I don't know. Is it the same for you, or is it the same with me? But I can't be bothered with international football.
Well, on Wednesday, I believe, when England played, I was actually at Newcastle Benfield and I seen a 4-1 win. It was actually a better game of football than what I'd actually seen England play. Yeah, internationals don't really do it for me unless we're actually at the tournament, because you see England are going to qualify out these groups. I mean, at the minute we're third in the Nations League, but I'm not really bothered. Like, I don't know. It's just the way we play. It's just dull, isn't it? You know, you just want the next Premier League game to come, especially when you're beating Burnley 3-1. And then you see an ASM like signing a new contract, you just want the next game to come straight away. But I suppose we don't control the calendar.
Well, we won't get onto that ASM bit just yet. But Pete, yeah, talk me through your international break. Did you just take a break from all football, or was you fully engulfed in international football, bro?
I'll be honest with you, a little bit same Sharky. In terms of international football, I'm kind of like 50% there. Like, I don't get me wrong. Like, I kind of enjoy not having to worry or think about Newcastle. Particularly after a win, it's nice to have that sort of 2-week break without the worries of where's the next 3 points going to come from and all the rest of it. So we're in a decent place at the moment. But in terms of international football, in terms of England, it's always sort of 50%. It's never really the same as club football. And to be honest, when I'm looking at those 3 lineups that were put out, it never really filled me with confidence anyway. It never really made me feel, yeah, I'm up for this. Like, I'm up for watching England. No Sancho, no Sterling. Like, some of the players the young players that really excite you and you want to watch. Kane, I think he played 1 out of 3, or came off the bench for one of them. Like, it just didn't really fill you with any interest or any excitement watching them. It's only 10% of what it is when it's sort of a knockout World Cups, Euros. That's the real one. That's the one where all the boys get together and you have a few beers and you kind of really support the country, really, and get behind the players.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Ford, for me, with England going into it, there was a discipline issue as well, and you could see that in the Belgium game and the previous one before. I know we beat Belgium, but the Denmark game, do beg your pardon, there just seemed to be something the matter with obviously Maguire. There's been a problem with the whole camp, really, and I don't know, is it with the whole situation of what's going on? I really don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get into that shortly. I want to shout out some people in the stream. Shout out to Sam, who's plugging his own channel from Newcastle Fans TV. Shout out to you, Sam. Yeah. How's it going, Fordy? I'm doing all right, mate. I'm just halfway through my food, so bear with me. If you see me munching away, I apologise. I know it's rude, but I'm starving. Shout out to Liam as well, who's in the stream, listening in as well. Shout out to Iceman, as always, he's in the stream.
Yes.
And
Iceman, good lad.
There he is. And then shout out to Statman Keith as well. I'm sure he'll be dropping some stats and some gems throughout the stream as well. Now, shout out to Sean as well, who's already talking about 3-2 to the Mags. We'll discuss that shortly, Sean, so stay tuned. We'll talk about a bit more about international break, but in regards to Newcastle United players. Now, as I said, I didn't watch too much. The only one I was aware of was Ryan Fraser bagging as well. Apparently, he did all right, scored, man of the match. So again, surely he's got to be knocking on Bruce's door saying, look, you've got to start me, bro. You know what I mean? I'm still continuing on, good reign of form. that Joe Linton / whoever role is up for grabs, whether you play 2 up top or 3 behind or whatever you want to play it. It's up for grabs, so it's got to be Ryan Fraser's, surely.
Yeah.
You know, go on, Sharky, go on.
I know, I was just about to say, he's working hard. Obviously, Scotland done quite well, actually, over the international break. They picked up some very good results. And it's good to see Fraser, getting some game time for the nation of Scotland and, scoring a goal. It's only going to do his confidence and on our side, the world of good, going into the weekend against Man United. I mean, I wouldn't be against starting him. I think, there's a real talent there. He's got that, relationship with Callum Wilson. Obviously, he's starting to form that partnership with, ASM as well, Callum Wilson. But in terms of Fraser, should he start? It's difficult, isn't it? Because everyone has their ways with the side, really, of who Bruce is going to go with. I think Steve Bruce is very cautious as well, isn't he, against the so-called top 6 sides?
Yeah, way too cautious. He just needs to sometimes take the handbrake off, doesn't he, Pete?
You know what? If there's ever a game he's to do that, it's this Saturday. Because look, it's been well documented, not just by Newcastle fans, but fans of all Premier League teams, that defence of Man United is there to be destroyed, not just had to be destroyed. There's question marks about Maguire even playing, picked up an injury. Bailly is doubtful. Lindelof is always a player that you can get at if you've got pace, and De Gea being their number 1 is probably their biggest mistake right now. And I think we talked about it way back, and Henderson really should have come in as number 1. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League last season. But it works in our favour, the fact that De Gea will probably start, because he's always likely to ship a goal. So this is the one team, as you call that sort of big 6. And this is the one team where you could really put a team out to go and attack them and cause some problems. Yes, they've got quality players. Yes, they've got attacking intent. But if you're pushing them back and you're making them defend, it's going to make it more difficult for those attacking players to get forward and cause problems. So it makes for a really interesting game. It makes for a tactical game. And we've talked about before how Bruce is not the best tactically, but if he's ever going to show that he's tactical and he's got an ability to show his tactical nous, then it's this weekend. We're on 7 points. We've had a relatively decent start. Amidst all the kind of negativity, we're not in a bad position. So this is a game where you can say, you know what, let's go out and really get at them. And if we lose, okay, fair enough. But if we go down swinging, then I think the fans will appreciate that.
No, I hear that too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was there anyone else who made an international appearance from Newcastle? Was it Jamal Lewis? Did he? I'm sure he did.
Yes, he did. Yeah, for Northern Ireland, and we seen Jeff Hendrick as well for the Republic.
Right.
Over the course of last week. I don't think Jeff Hendrick had the best sort of time with Republic. I think they got beaten a couple of games. And Jamal Lewis, I'm not too sure about him either. But actually, Miggy played as well.
Yeah, he did.
I'm sure I've seen a tweet today from Keith Downey saying that he'll be ready for tomorrow's game, though, right?
Yeah.
Who's that, Miggy?
No, for Jamal Lewis.
Yeah,
Jamal
he should
Lewis
be
is fit. Yeah, he's been confirmed because obviously, I think after the second game, apparently he's had an Achilles problem for a while, and obviously it's only just come to light now, and he struggles to play sort of 2 games in short succession, but he did for Northern Ireland, and after the second game, I think there was a couple of concerns, so I think they took him for a scan, ruled him out of the third game, and I think all of that was sort of precautionary. I think he's just managing his injury at the moment. But he trained yesterday and today, and he's been confirmed that he's in the squad. So the likelihood is he'll start. So that was really good news, because you can't mess around with your Achilles, because if it goes, you're looking at 8-9 months recovery. So that has to be looked at after properly. With Dummett only coming back in and not really the same type of player, we need him fit. But just going back to Ryan Fraser, he looked really good in that last Scotland game, and he looked sharp, and he looked like the Ryan Fraser that we want to see at Newcastle, what we saw at Bournemouth, and it was always going to take him time. But this is potentially the game where we can really cause them problems with pace, and he has pace. That, you know, that's maybe the one game where you think, you know, does Joelinton start? Do we play Almiron? Do we play saint-maximin? Do we play Wilson and really go at them with pace and pressing high up the pitch? You know, it's nice to see that there are actually these sort of dilemmas there on who to pick, rather than having the first 11 be picked for you. And actually, what it does is it constantly gives the opposition question marks, because you know, in years gone by, it's been easy. The opposition, whoever they are, have had our 11 on the board to say, this is how they're going to play. We know who's going to start. This is how we stop them. But actually, up until the team sheet comes out, you don't actually know who's going to be in the team, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
I was just about to say about Fraser though, like you would know what he's about, would know what he brings to the table. I mean, you seen it against Burnley when he forced Pope into a mistake and we got the pen and put it away. You know, just his burst of pace, just his presence, and we need that, especially in games, even against like teams like Burnley when it 1-1, it could have went one way or the other. You know, in the past we may have actually lost that game, but the fact that we could bring on players with pace, you know, such as Ryan Fraser, changes games. You know what I mean? You get ASM more involved, and like you were saying before there, Dave, about the fact that we could, you know, make changes to the side. That's what we need. That's what we've been called out for. You know, instead of playing the same old players and getting them injured, and we're just asking for a bit of ambition, really, up, and we're asking just to build a very good side that can keep winning the Premier League, but also try and kick on, you know, above mid-table.
That's all we've ever asked for, really. Before we get into the preview, I want to talk about the next thing, which is ASM. He's signed a new deal. So happy days. For me, again, sometimes I've got to be a bit skeptical about it. I've got to see the other side of it. I don't think he's going to be here for 6 years.
Nah, definitely not.
But at the same time, it doesn't leave us in a situation as what happened to Arsenal, for example, where the player runs down to like their final year. If we sell him on, which we probably will do, I'm sure we'll get a pretty penny for him, up in the 60s or 70 mils. But I'm just happy again. He signed on. And again, even the little video he gave, obviously it's scripted and all the rest of it, but you know, he signed on for another 6 more years, more money as well for in his pocket. So again, hopefully his agent will kind of steer clear from that side of things for a little bit longer. And again, we can just see more masterclasses, basically. You know what I mean? Against Burnley, he was out of this world, man. So thoughts, guys? What do you reckon?
Go on, Dave.
You know what? I'm really happy with this deal. I'm really happy to see that the club have had the future planning and the future thinking to actually think, you know what, let's get him tied down. We've seen over the last few years where we've left it till the last moment to, you know, get players who we'd like to stay signed up, and it's literally waited till they've ran down into their last year. We've got a load of them right now currently that are in their last years of their contract. So, you know, to look and tie up our best players is fantastic and exactly what we want to see as fans. With ASM, it shows his commitment to the club, to the fans, to the city, and he's already said that in his statements and in his videos since. You know, I said it on Twitter when the deal was signed. He's the most genuine, down to earth professional footballer, an open professional footballer that I've ever known. And he talks from the heart. He doesn't hold anything back. He tells you exactly how it is, and he interacts with the fans. You know, he's not negative towards the fans. He interacts with them, even when there are negative things like kind of thrown his way. He kind of bounces it back and makes light of it. You know, you haven't got any other professional footballer that does that at any club in the Premier League, and it's so refreshing to see. Look, do I think he's going to stay the 6 years? No, I don't. It would have to take a fundamental, significant shift, and we all know what that would be in order for him to stay long term. However, what it does, it secures him with the likelihood of a release clause, and probably a very heavy one. I'm sure it wouldn't be around the 30-40 million. I don't think Mike Ashley will make the same mistake as what he did with a Jose Perez. So it would be a significant release clause if there is one. And look, in the COVID times, there aren't many teams that are going to be putting that money down in the next year or two. So, you know, if anything, it secures us for a year or two. And as long as we're getting Premier League football, and as long as we're remaining semi-competitive, So looking at the top half of the table, mid-table, it ensures that he stays at the club, and that can only be a good thing.
What are you saying, Jarky? Happy?
Yeah, Dave's pretty much covered everything I would say. You know, he's a loyal guy. You know, he's come in and he's really taken to the club. You know, he's taken to the fans, and he's way on social media. You know, interacting with the fans, which I think is very very important. He says all the right things. And when I seen that he was going to sign a 6-year contract, at first I didn't quite believe it, because you can't always believe everything you read. But seeing it, it just goes to show that he's committed to Newcastle United, that he really wants to give his all for the shirt. And I think he was saying along the lines of he wants to be, what was a footballer now? Was it David Ginola? Was that right? Is that what he said?
Yeah,
he said he wanted to be like somebody. But anyway, he's the first name on the team sheet, and he's the best player at the club by far. You know, he's our most gifted player, and we rely on him so much in games. And because he's got the pace, you know, he can rip out a defence, and, you know, he can score goals, he can make things happen. And given how much we're paid for him, it's an absolute snip. But you talk about the 6-year deal. Will he stay here for 6 years? Well, technically it's a 1-year deal, isn't it? Because he got given the 6 years and he's been here for 5 years, 1 year and the 5. But I think all in all, it is a good deal. It obviously just keeps away the suitors, you know, the bigger clubs. But if things begin to change, which it will do with this ownership, if a big offer does come in, will the board then say, right, you know, that's it? You know, we've seen it all before. But to be positive, it is a good move, you know, for both parties, and long may it continue. Hopefully now, you know, he remains settled. He just continues to play his game, because the lad's got so much potential. He can score so many goals, and I'm looking forward now to the future with ASM in the side.
Before we move on, I just want to ask you both. I was going to just 1 second. I want to ask you both. Do you think there's a release clause in this contract? Because obviously he signed up for more money because, you know, he's playing out of his skin. But at the same time, you know how these agents are, you know, probably be on his ear saying, look, if you stay here another year, so-and-so will look on you. Like, it's all a case of, like, knock-on effect. So, say, for example, Adama Traore might move on to Liverpool in a year. That means Wolves will be looking for a right winger. Then again, ASN comes up, 30, 40 million, boom, there you go. And I don't know, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Do you think there'll be a transfer clause possibly in place to kind of help him move on a lot quicker?
I think there will be, because at the end of the day, yes, he signed a 6-year deal, and yes, he said all the right things about the club and that, but if that's the case, something's got to be said in the background that, you know, we're trying to look to get into those, you know, top 10 places, maybe a potential Europa League spot. And if that's not there, which we know the fan base want, we all want to see the club back in Europe, and we've got a player there who, you know, for me, is a Champions League footballer. He could walk into any side, you know, a Bayern Munich, a PSG, anywhere, and make them look good. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the club have obviously given him that contract because they know that there's big interest out there, and with the contract that he signed, there has to be some sort of release clause to say, you know, if a bigger club comes in, his agent will be obviously talking in his ear, like, you know, for example, Barca or Real Madrid have come in, you can't turn these down. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's Newcastle, but if you want to win trophies, do you really think you're going to win one at Newcastle under this ownership? You've got to be realistic with yourself. He has to be realistic.
All right, Pete, what are you saying, bro? What are you going to say? Sorry.
I agree. I think there is a release clause in his contract. I believe that it would likely to be a release clause that, as the years go on in this contract, that it starts high. So it wouldn't surprise me that this summer his release clause is as big as 70, 75 million. And then as the years go on to each year, each summer, it goes down as his contract runs down. So as the years go on, there's more likely a chance that a team will be able to pay that sort of money, and that's to secure him in the short term. You know, he would have been told, you know, or he maybe around the table would have been saying, you know, look, I want to stay. I also want to see what's happening with the club with regards to is there going to be a new owner coming in? Is there not? And he's going to be looking at that. And you know, let's not kid ourselves. When he's talking about the long-term future of the club, he's talking about a takeover, because under Mike Ashley, we're only going to stagnate and stay at the same level. So he's looking at it from a smart businessman point of view, in that, you know, he's looking at it and thinking, right, within the next year, if we secure potentially a takeover or certainly new owners in whoever that may be, then we've got an opportunity to really anyway with new owners, and therefore I'm secured in the contract. I'm all good. If not, he's got that full back in terms of if other teams come in for me that are in that position that I want to be in, then therefore, there's that option. But either way, what we're going to see is a person that's going to get his head down and put good performances in for Newcastle. And ultimately, that's all we want. We want him to be the difference. We want him to be the maverick. We want him to be the game changer, exactly what he did at Burnley. We want him to do the same on Saturday, and we want him to win games for us. And as long as he's doing that, we're all going to be happy. What I would like to see from the club is a Wilfried Zaha type management of his contract, because look, Wilfried Zaha has been talked about for the last 3 years, going to Arsenal, going to various different teams. I think PSG were interested in him in the summer, and Crystal Palace have been very clear. You can go, but for 80 million. I don't care what year of your contract it is in, you are going for 80 million, otherwise you'll see out your contract. And I would like to think Newcastle, being a team that are relatively secure in the Premier League, as long as they're secure in their Premier League place and they're in that position, are saying to all these teams that are sniffing around, whether they're in the Premier League or Europe, you want him, you pay this price. And it's as simple as that. And there's no negotiation. They make it clear to ASM, and they have that Zaha mould. And you know what? I think Crystal Palace need to be praised for that, because they need the money. They could have broken and just accepted a lesser fee from Everton, from Arsenal back in the day, a couple of years ago, but they didn't. And I think with Newcastle, we don't need to sell Alan Saint-Maximin. We've got money behind us. My cash has already shown that. So I would like to see that sort of Crystal Palace, Zaha approach to Alan Saint-Maximin if he's putting those performances in.
No, I hear that, man. I hear that. All good points there from me both. Right, let's move on to the actual preview now. So before we do, I'm just going to read out a couple of comments. So thank you guys for bearing with us. So Liam says, did you watch Steve Bruce's press conference? His mentality is so negative. Quick answer is, Liam, no, I don't. I don't watch Steve Bruce's press conference, but I'm sure you two do. Before you jump in, I'm just going to read out the others. Irishman says, Fraser right, Maxi left, Miggy 10, and Wilson striker. Look, that's music to my ears, but will I see that? Probably not. Again, we'll discuss that later on, don't worry. Liam then goes on to say, this is the worst Man United team in years. We should go for it. Pete, I already know you're nodding your head, even if you're not doing it right now. Charlie, one more as well. Akil says, if Maguire is playing for United, Newcastle should target him. He's all over the place at the moment. ASM will rip Luke Shaw apart. And Pete is putting his head like he's some punk rock.
Two players in two positions where we should be. If Steve Bruce has got anything to happen tactically, he should be saying, right, ASM, go and play yourself down the left-hand side and just run at Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw does not like to run backwards. He likes to run forward. He likes to overlap the winger, which is normally 9 times out of 10 Marcus Rashford, and get balls in the box. And actually, he's quite an effective player doing that. But you ask him to run backwards, and we saw it against Tottenham, he commits himself, he makes silly decisions, and against a tricky player like ASM, where you don't know what you're going to get from him, that's exactly what we should be looking at. So if I was Bruce, or if Bruce was a smart enough man, he'd be saying, right, Maxi, go and play on the right-hand side. Go and run at Luke Shaw. Go and make him go backwards and think about defensively rather than making those overlapping ones going forward. And then I'll be saying, Wilson, go and play yourself on Harry Maguire. And I'll be saying to Shelvey, go and pop the ball over the head of Harry Maguire and let Wilson go and press that and chase onto him. And any smart team, any smart manager, any smart player will be looking at that, will be licking their lips thinking, we're going to get chances here today.
Pete, mate, you might as well be manager, mate.
You know what?
He's tactical now. Like, yeah, Shelby, you do that. You.
I tell you what, if it all goes to plan, we're in the top 4.
Oh, easy out, Shelby.
This is my Sunday league management.
No, honestly, you're doing better than Steve Bruce, because when I think of Steve Bruce against the top 6, I feel like he just shits himself. Like, he doesn't really go for it. He plays a 5 at the back, and that's where I think tomorrow we shouldn't be going 5 at the back. Like, do you know what? They play a 4-2-3-1 formation, which we actually played last season, which got results. I'll go and match them, because I think at the minute they've got suspensions. they've got obviously players missing. With the likes of ASM, as you mentioned, and Callum Wilson, we've got the player, even Chelsea, we've got the players to get at them to make force Maguire, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka into mistakes. You know, they make mistakes. They've proven it against Spurs. They conceded 6. Do you know what I mean? And they're not in a good moment. So, I mean, if Steve Bruce tomorrow goes 5 at the back, I'll not be happy.
I mean, this is the right time for us to play him, right? Like, Maguire's playing terrible. They've shipped in 6, like you said. We've come off the back of a good 3-1 win against Burnley. ASM's just signed a new contract, so he's got to prove his worth.
David De Gea does not fill me with any confidence. If I was a Man United fan, I'd be worried. Do you know what I mean? Like, Henderson, for me, how does Henderson not get a game for Manchester United?
I mean,
a smart manager would be playing Dean Henderson on Saturday night.
Yeah.
A smart manager would be playing Dean Henderson. For me, he was one of, if not the best goalkeeper. You know, you could argue at Alisson in there as well, and then Dubravka not far behind him. But Dean Henderson was absolutely outstanding last season. And you know what? It's so telling that he's gone back to Man United and look at Sheffield United's performances since he's been gone under is it Ramsdale? That's gone and goal, the lad from Bournemouth. It's absolutely telling. For me, that'd be the smart move. But we're also not thinking about Man United have got PSG midweek afterwards.
Well, that's it.
In the
that's what I was thinking.
So they will have that in the back of their minds, because this is their, you know, they're in the Europa League last season. They're going to want to really stamp their authority on the Champions League, and it's a big first game. Look, this is a big moment for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If he doesn't win on Saturday, and then he goes and gets beat by PSG, he could be out of a job. He could be out of a job. The thing is,
how has he still got a job anyway? Like, he should have been sacked when we beat them 1-0. That awful. He's not. To me, he's not a good manager. I don't even think he's a good manager. He's just because he's, you know, one of the legends at Man United. That's the only reason he's got the job. For me, he's no good. Yeah. He got Cardiff relegated.
He settled the ship, but you know, all the talk about Fernandes falling out with Solskjaer after the last game, and concerns over him tactically, you know, all of those things that are starting to happen. There are rifts in the camp, and this goes back to the original point. We need to exploit that as a team. We need to be exploiting that. And we exploited it the last time, because Man U came to us at St James's Park when Matty Longstaff got the win the last season under not very good form. The only difference was we were coming in under even worse form, having and you were there, Clinton. Me and you were both there when we got absolutely hammered by Leicester at the Walkers or King Power.
I was there. I was there.
Yeah, we were all there, and you know, we were all there, so we saw how bad that was. But this time we're going in better form than them. So we should be confident. We should be thinking, you know what? We've got nothing to lose here. Let's go for it.
Guys, do we switch up a little bit? Do we unleash the Ginger Perlo, aka Matty Longstaff? Do we unleash him? Because we know what he can do against Man United. Let's face it, we know what he can do. He's shaking his head already.
I'm more for bringing him on second half, to be honest. See where the game's at, and then go the same route. I think you've got to go with your strongest possible 11. Very similar to Burnley, and just get at them. Do you know what I mean? And cause them problems early doors. If we can get an early goal, you can settle the nerves very, very quickly. Man United will be under pressure, and we know that they're missing players such as Martial and who else? They're missing somebody else. Is it Bruno? Is Bruno Fernandes meant to be out? I've heard. Is he meant to be out?
I'm not sure after what happened with Portugal. Obviously, with Cristiano Ronaldo tested positive, nobody's really confirmed what's happening, because he's been in and around all of the Portuguese squad, including Fernandes.
I've got it here.
But nobody's really confirmed that.
I've got it here.
Nobody really knows.
Green light to play. I've got it off a website, so I've been just told. Well, I've just got it off a website saying he's been getting green light. So
I don't think Cavani.
Also Cavani as well
either.
Yeah,
I don't think not that he's fit. I think he's still self-isolating, having come over to the country. So I think he just misses the game as well, which I'm glad about, because he's the one. Look, I rate the guy. I know he's 33. My brother's a PSG season ticket holder. He has been for 10 years, so I've been to a few PSG games and watched him play, and he is a monster. And he will score goals for Man United. I guarantee it. He will be a better player than Martial will, but hopefully he can do that after Saturday.
Yeah, let him do that after Saturday. But in regards to us now, like I said before, is there any changes that we need to make? We talked about Fraser and his form earlier. Joe Linton is always a big question mark around him. Like any changes, guys? You know, big game against Man United. Any changes would you make?
Well, do you want us to give you my start 11 if that helps?
Go for it, mate. Go for it.
Yeah, so I've obviously got in goal Caldolo, left back Jamal Lewis, right back Javier Manquillo, two centre backs I've gone with captain Jamal Lascelles and Federico Fernandez. The two sitting in deep I've gone with Hayden and Shelby. In the number 10, I've actually gone with Miggy. But then there was rumours going around that he apparently pulled up in the game for Paraguay, but apparently he's okay now. But if he wasn't playing, I would rather, put Hendrick in the number 10 rather on the right because he's wasted. He doesn't really have the pace for me. But anyway, we'll go with Miggy Almiron. And on the left, I've actually gone with Joe Linton because I believe he is actually starting to get it together. I know he's not scoring, he's paid to score, but I think he is starting to get there. He's starting to gain a little bit of confidence. I don't know if it's because of the birth, maybe. I don't know. It could be anything.
Two interesting things that you said, Sharky. Almiron, obviously, do you see that elbow that he got? That might put him out.
Yeah, I did.
It was a punch. He got punched in the face.
That's a red. For me, that's a red card.
Yeah,
red card.
All day.
But that's Almiron's not been starting. That's the first thing.
Oh,
the second thing, Hendrick as well in a number 10. You put him in number 10, would you?
I would. Let's be honest. I know it's controversial, but why is he playing on the right hand? I know he played on the right hand side for Burnley, but the way we play, I just don't think he's really doing it. Like, you don't see enough of him. I just think he hasn't really got the pace, but that's just obviously my opinion. You might think different, but yeah, like I say, on the left, Joe Linton, right hand side, ASM, and Callum Wilson for me must be the focal point. I'm more like, speaking, the 4-2-3-1 formation. I know he won't play that. He'll go 4-4-2, but you want to see Miggy more pushed up. I don't know. There's just something with Jeff Hendrick for me that just doesn't quite stick. I believe he's a grafter. He works hard, but I just don't think he really does it on the right hand side. It really baffles me in the 4-4-2 when I see him in it. Like, I don't think he's comfortable in it personally. Yeah.
Pete, what are you saying, mate? What's your first 11 looking like? Anything similar to Sharky's?
Yeah, similar. So the back five with Darlow, Manquillo, Lascelles, Fernandez, Lewis, all the same. It's not necessarily what I would go for. I just believe this is what he's going to go for. And I think he'll play Hendrick, Hayden, and Shelby in the midfield. He'll have Hendrick that will kind of shadow that right hand side and protect it at times, but also, when we're defending, we'll defend as a 3 in midfield with Hendrick coming back in and sitting in and doing that job, which allows the likes of ASM to stay further forward. I think that's what he'll play. I would like him to go with ASM, Fraser, and Almiron, and really go with pace and pressing ability at the top with Wilson. I'd love to see that, but I just don't see it. So I think he'll go with ASM starting on the left as he has been, Joe Linton in the middle, and then sort of like a Hendricks on the right hand side, either centre midfield or right hand side, but he'll fluctuate between the two, and then Joe Linton and ASM will alternate. So Joe Linton will spend some time on the left, mostly to do the doggy work defensively, and ASM will stay in the middle, and vice versa, with Wilson pressing up top. It'll be just like Burnley, really. I think he'll start that same team, and I just think like he's not really one that likes to make drastic changes, particularly when we're getting results from it. So I just don't see him changing the team. But this is what we talked about. We talked about, is he brave enough to say, you know what, let's go for it. Nothing to lose. Let's go for it, and really attack Man United. I don't believe he will. I hope he does, but I don't believe he will.
Yeah, I'm hoping he does, because at the end of the day, we're playing them, Man United, in a bad moment. We're in a good moment. Do you know what I mean? That you can't, especially at home. I know there's no fans, but you can't just sit back against Manchester United when they're playing like that. Do you know what I mean? That's the only worry I've got for the game. Actually, they've actually lost 6-1 now, but they've still got some decent players in there. I know they're missing a few, but I'd be more confident if it had been like a mid-table side that had maybe lost 6-1, but the top 6 teams tend to respond. So that's my only niggling concern. But all in all, I think we should theoretically get the job done.
Okay, before we move on, I'm going to read out some more comments. So Sean Mullen says, if ASM tears up Man U, a new one, tomorrow they will be looking at him. I think they're set to a release clause at £70 million. Can't get my teeth out. Iceman says Maxi would have been great in the entertainers era, direct and quick. You know, that's not a bad shot as it goes. Ginola on one side, ASM on the other. Although we did have Keith Gillespie, he was flying up and down. But yeah, that would have been a good shout. He then goes on to say, imagine him and Robert together. That's Sean. So again, not bad. Cruel to be kind. I love that name. Same with Grealish and Villa. They fought tooth and nails to keep him. So I'm guessing you're talking about when we were talking regards to ASM and the kind of Zaha comparison with Crystal Palace. Iceman then goes on to say, hit it hard and fast. None of this hit on the break. Take it to them, which Man U won't expect us to do. Totally agree. Keith Roll, Statman Keith. I don't think Maguire will be playing Ole. Maguire will be playing Ole. I mean, Ole will be playing Maguire. I'm thinking, is Maguire the manager? You're confusing me now, Statman Keith. What's going on? Liam's got loads to say. Liam says De Gea is a bigger name than Henderson. That's why De Gea is starting. Yeah, bigger name, but I don't know.
I think it's more his wages more than anything, guys.
But the thing is, though, Cody, that's where it's going to backfire. That's where it's going to backfire on Ollie, though, because he's making these decisions. He's playing them on names, some of them, isn't he, really?
Yeah. I mean, look, if he wants to keep making that decision, that's fine. You know, hopefully he doesn't wise up this weekend. So, you know,
it's not going to be in there before too long.
Yeah.
If you're playing a goalkeeper $400,000 a week, or you're starting a goalkeeper that's on $100,000 a week compared to one that's sitting on the bench of $400,000 a week, I think that's the predicament that he's in. And I don't think as a manager he can justify it, and I don't think as a club they can justify it either. They had this issue with Alexis Sanchez sitting on the bench or not even a squad on £400 a week. So I think that's the biggest issue. I don't think it's about. I think if they were both on the same money, I think Henderson would be starting by now.
Got a couple more to read out. Shaw Mullen says again, can see Joe Linton is much better with the game played in front of him. He's looking much more confident. I would play him. That's what basically you were saying, Sharky, as well, mate.
Yeah, honestly, I think he's doing all right. He just needs to score. He just needs to, you know what I mean. If you at the minute, you know, we're doing well, but we just need to get him into the right places at the right time. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he's getting there, but again, you will only find out the true Joe Linton if he starts banging the goals.
Yeah. I think the next ones are more towards Hendrick now because we've had a little Hendrick conversation. So Hendrick on the right looks unnatural. I've got to agree. Obviously, I think he offers some protection for Manquillo, but at the same time, I've got to agree, he doesn't offer much going forward. Even though
I was going to say, with Hendrick, it's kind of like that he does look unnatural when he's going forward. But as you said, Fordy, he's like when we're looking to defend, he actually doesn't look unnatural. He actually looks quite settled there in doing that graft, and that's what he's been well known for. Even at Derby and at Burnley, they talk about. Even Dice talked about him after the game. The fact that he's a grafter and he does work hard off the ball, and I think that's why Bruce will start him purely for that reason. Because I think when you've got the likes of Rashford, Fernandes, potentially Pogba. Van Beek, all those players that are going to be coming attacking you, you're going to want that defensive shield, and he gives you that.
Yeah. Obviously, Iceman's asking what position did Hendrick play for Derby? As always, looks comfortable there. I'm not too sure, mate.
When I watched him, I don't think he ever played on the right. I think he was always played down the middle. So that's why that's always. I watched him play for Derby, and I remember him down the middle.
Yeah,
centre middle, number 10.
Yeah, Hendrick is a centre midfielder.
So that's why I say maybe if it didn't work out for Almiron, maybe give him a chance in that number 10 to see if it would work. You've got to experiment. Do you know what I mean? If you don't give him a chance,
he has played there before.
Yeah, if you give him a chance, but there you go. I'm not Steve Bruce.
Thank God. Newcastle fans TV 40. I can lend you $6.99 for a haircut. Oh, I'm guessing that's Lee. If that's you, mate. You're on fire to talk about haircuts, mate. Don't make me get the pictures outside. He's obviously referring to the glorious throw that I've got going on. Look, man, I'm getting on in age. I said this is my last hair growth, and then I'll be starting bicking it because I don't want no ball patches. So the throw stays.
Is it the lockdown look?
It might be. It's lockdown look. That's what you can put it down to. But it's staying for now until I get enough of it, and then that's it. I'm bored for good. Plenty of people said see me with a bored look, so it's time for something new. But yeah, like, okay, so let's get back into the game. Enough about my hair. How is this going to go down? Because obviously we're talking about Maguire's this, Shaw's that, De Gea's this, Ayrton's that. Like, how is this really going to, materialise in our eyes? Because Pete's already been painting a beautiful picture for us, Shelby pinging it long, picking up this guy, but like, how is it really going to go down? Because bearing in mind, we've got Steve Bruce. Oh, and we forgot to talk about his press conference as well. That's a flashpoint as well. Anyone want to bring that up? That's fine. But yeah,
not seen it yet. Not seen it yet.
Oh, not seen it. Sharky?
Yeah, I've seen bits of it. He was basically more praising towards Man United, like, they're a good side. That it's going to be a difficult game and whatnot. Just honestly, common sense. Just go for the game. Have a go. You're at home. I know there's no fans, but this is a massive fixture regardless. And if we don't go for it, if we just sit back tomorrow, we're going to get punished. Do you know what I mean? I was saying to you before, they're missing players, but they've also got game changers in their side that will change a game just like that. If we switch off for one moment, then they're on it. Do you know what I mean? The ball's in the back of the net, and we've done it before. Look what happened against Brighton. Do you know what I mean? Brighton are not exactly amazing, but they put with at the sword in 7 minutes. So it just goes to prove what can happen if you go into the game in a negative attitude. But yeah, like Dave said, I think get at them. You know what I mean? Get Shelby into the game. Bring the likes of Wilson into the game. Get him attacking, get him having shots at the goal, and ESM's going to be the main focal point for us tomorrow. Huge.
Yeah, we've literally seen like the good side of us, playing against West Ham, playing against Burnley. Then you see the bad side of us, starting badly against Brighton and struggling against League One or League Two teams or wherever they are. So
you've got to look at the bigger picture sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. Pete, so what I was going to say, mate.
For me, I think the way in which the game goes all depends on us. I think it all depends on our mentality. It all depends on what formation we play. It all depends on what our mentality is going into the game. Are we going to be defensive? Are we going to go out there and really try and press them high and the ball high up the pitch? Because none of their defenders are great or feel 100% comfortable on the ball. Certainly Maguire not at the moment. He'd be the best one, but even he doesn't at the moment. I think it all depends on us. I think the way the game goes. So look, I always say I like to see the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes indicates where this game's going to go for me, and it'll be no different. But we've said it for the whole time we've been on the stream that actually, we have a chance here of getting something from the game. Nobody's saying we're guaranteed to win it. I'm saying we've got a chance of getting something from the game here if we go out there and really, really go at them and make it difficult for them, press them high, make them think defensively. And the first goal's key. It always is with Newcastle. With Newcastle United, it's always key. If we get that first goal, like we did last season at St James's Park, we've got something to hold on to. It just changes the dynamic of the game. If they get the first goal, if we gift them a goal and give them any form or sort of confidence, we'll end up getting destroyed because their strikers in the forward line will just turn it on. So it all depends on. It's all on ifs and buts.
Yeah, no, I agree. But sometimes, you know what? When we go behind, when we go in front, sometimes I feel like we kind of just like, oh, that's it now. We don't know how to kill games off. We ain't got that killer instinct. Do you know what I mean? We don't go, all right, second, third, fourth. Do you know what I mean? We go first. Okay, what do we do from here? Like pull the handbrake up, sort of thing.
We've got to go the hard way, sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right in that. Like we kind of like freeze a little bit when we get there. We're like, oh, don't know what to do now. But actually, I'd much rather us be in that position, and I think the players do, knowing that they've got something to hold on to. Because I think the defense wakes up. The defense is more alert. The defense is more efficient with their defending in terms of getting rid and overplaying. When we go down, our heads drop. Our heads completely drop, and then it could be any score at that point. And that's the thing. We saw that at Brighton. We went within 7 minutes. We were 2 goals down, and the game was effectively done. Because when was the last time? I think it was Everton when we came back and won 3-2.
And how did we get anything out of that?
Yeah, and we were, you know, that was under Benitez, and that's a different mentality of a different squad of players at that point. We haven't necessarily got that same mentality. We've got a different mentality. Not saying it's not as good, but yeah, the first goal's been key for us for the last 10 years. This is not something recent. You know, if you go back to a lot of our fixtures, even go back to the season we finished fifth. A lot of the games in the late runnings end of the season was 1-0 wins against big teams, lesser teams, and it was because we got the first goal and we were able to sit on it and get that result through. So we'll see.
You see that there, Fordy, we played Burnley, and obviously we had that against them when they got back into the game 1-1, and the defence had to really wake up and managed to get the second and the third. But it can happen. It happens in games. You can be. The thing is, what helped us in the Burnley game was we actually was on top. We just switched off for a moment in the second half. We gave them a period. We gave them a good 20 minutes to have their own way, and then we knew how to just turn the screw on them. But yeah, against Man United, I mean, if we go 1-0 down, it could be disaster.
Yeah, I'm just going to read out a couple more of these comments. There's a couple funny ones coming up, believe me. Sharky is right. He played as a part of a 3 and a 10 for Derby. I'm guessing you're talking about Hendrick there, so well done with that one, mate. This is Lee responding back to my comments. Now, wrong with a mohawk. All right then, mate. I mean, unless you're releasing your inner Chet Tiote, then cool. Liam says, are you going to spend £15 to watch Newcastle versus Man United? Depending on who's watching this, yes, I am going to spend £15 to watch Newcastle versus Man United because I watch everything legally. Yeah.
Premier League's like, come on, supporters, give us your money. Come on, 15 quid each. West Brom versus Burnley, Newcastle versus Man United. Come on, give us your money. Come on.
Yeah, I will pay that with ease.
And if you also want to watch more than one game, right? 30, 40, come on, money.
Yeah, exactly. Sean Mullen, 2-2 at 85 minutes, an ASM penalty, and Maguire are 3-2 to the team. If that happens, Sean, please come back on the stream, and I want to win lottery numbers. If that happens exactly to the point, I want those winning lottery numbers straight away. Liam then goes on to say, even against League 2 teams, Steve Bruce has a negative mentality. I can't disagree. I can't agree more, sorry. Yeah, he does. This is the baffling one. Right, so I think it might be you, Sharky, who's guilty of this, because definitely not me. Who's Dave? Thought it was Pete. But now, Sharky, I think you called Pete Daves, because I know why, because he's got Daves on his
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's probably wise. My memory's not always great at the best of times with names and stuff. So, I do put my hands up. I do apologise.
No, don't worry. I'm used to it. Don't worry.
To be fair, I'm imagining another first name. I get called Sharky by everyone. So there you go.
No, that's it. There you go. I'm used to it because it's Dave. Dave's is part of my nickname, so everyone just calls me.
See, I've got away with it. So, I've got away with it.
There you go, people. There you go, Lee.
Yeah,
I got out with it.
You're getting on.
I couldn't really explain myself, but Dave, he helped. You really helped.
We've got some more predictions. So Keith saying both teams will do a draw. I think tomorrow's game could end 1-1. Wilson scored for Newcastle. Rashford scored for Man U.
Do you know what? Would you take a draw though? Would you actually take a draw at that game tomorrow?
Me personally.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah and no. Yeah, because it's Man United, but no, because they are in the worst form. We are in our best form, if you like. It's literally, I know we say this all the time, but they're there for the taking. They are literally there for the taking. As we all mentioned in the stream, Maguire's having a shocker right now. Luke Shaw's having a shocker. The haters playing bad. Do you know what I mean? They can be got at. The only person I'm scared of is probably like Rashford diving in the box and Bruno Fernandes, tucked away penalty. But then we've got ASM just to kind of run ragged. I want to see ASM front and face, right foremost, up against Luke Shaw from minute one. Say, here you go, try and deal with this. I want him to see him do it. And then when he's done, I want Miggy to come on, like, and then I want Fraser. Do you know what I mean? I want all of our speed merchants to take the absolute piss at Luke Shaw and then just rip him to shreds. That's what we got to do. We can't be this. Shall we play it? No, this way. No, just tear them a new one. Like
Get up.
They've done it to us so fast. So, yeah. I would take a draw, but at the same time, I really want this win. I really do. What are you saying, guys?
Yeah, I'm going for a 1-0 win. I'll take it. I mean, if we can get a clean sheet, I don't care how we get the goal. I couldn't care if it's a scrappy one or if it's a long way. Just let's get 3 points because, again, you look at their vulnerabilities, Manchester United, and we're at home as well. You want to win your home games regardless if there's no fans. So, yeah, like I've got firm belief that ASM will be the big reason why we get the 3 points tomorrow.
I think it'll probably be 2-1 to us. I'll be honest. With the way they're playing at the moment, I'd be really disappointed if we lost the game. I just would. I would take a draw. I'd take 3 points, obviously, and I think we're capable of winning the game. All depends on how we turn up. All depends on what mentality we have. But I'm confident more so than I have been for a long time when we play one of the better teams in the league that we can get something tomorrow. But I just hope that the players have the same confidence and mindset that a lot of the fans have got, because I think a lot of fans are confident that we can get something. And I just hope that they have that same confidence within themselves. We've got players back, everyone's training, everyone's fit. There's only really, I think, Sean Longstaff and Dubravka that are not okay. Matt Ritchie as well. We've got players to choose from here, which is we've not been able to say that for a while. So yeah, I'm confident. I'm confident we can get something from the game.
Reading some more comments out. Sean says, I really don't think they will relish playing us tomorrow. Pace and direct football is the key for us in this game. Can't. Yep, definitely. Liam says, I don't mind losing if we show fight, but I can't accept losing without trying. Gotta echo that.
We don't want to be losing tomorrow. Let's get at them.
Exactly. Here's a great suggestion from Iceman. I have mine to West End Food Bank, $14.95. Well spent. I'm guessing in regards to the 15. I love that. Respect that as well. 100% respect that.
A lot of fans are doing that. A lot of fans are doing that, guys. There's been a lot of talk about that. That actually, rather than paying the £15 for the Sky box office, that they're going to stream the game and put the £15 to the food bank to a good use for people that obviously need it at this moment in time. It's obviously a very difficult time. So, Iceman's obviously doing it. A lot of other people are doing the same. Fair play. Massive respect to that. And encourage more fans to do the same.
No, I respect that massively. Liam said, "I wouldn't take a point. I'd rather take a point against Wolves than Manchester United." Fair enough. Greg Binns, man like Clint. Okay, shout out you. Shelby for England as well. Oh, I don't know about that one right now. One for you, Sharky. Lee saying, "I shall see you at the women's game."
Yes, I'll be there on Sunday. I do go to quite a lot of the women's games. They're playing some good stuff. They're in the FA Cup on Sunday against Blackburn. I believe, according to Lawrence, they're actually a few divisions below. But hey, you can only beat what's put in front of you, But yeah, if anybody's interested and they want to watch the women's game, Drew Park, I'm sure you'll allow us to give them a plug.
Yep, 100%, mate, 100%. Before we wrap up, or before we go, I want to talk about some transfers. Obviously, today, before we got on the stream, I was gutted to see my man Ben Rama's gone to West Ham on a season-long loan. I know, I felt it as well, Sharky, mate. Me being a die-hard Brentford fan that I am, he's gone on loan to West Ham to go and ruin his career. I'm glad he's in the Premier League because he's too talented to be in the Championship right now. But
good for us, though.
Yeah, exactly.
But change the red and white to the black and white. That's how I was expecting. Newcastle just go in for him. This is a player here who, for me, he'll be in one of the top 6 clubs in the next few seasons. He'll not stay at West Ham. Sorry.
Well, exactly. That's what we're hoping. I mean, it was me thinking ambitious that we could have gone in for him, but it wasn't meant to be.
The poor lad's gone from a big stadium to not even a stadium.
He's gone from Little Brentford Park to Bibbin, the Olympic Stadium. But yeah, do you think there's going to be any moves or shakers for us at all? No.
The window's done now. It was 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, so just
we didn't get any takers for our fringe players, so we've kept them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We're still left with Appu and Save, Lazar, what's his name? Lazar and
Look, they've all got a year left on their contract. They all knew, they've all had plenty of opportunities to move elsewhere. Those guys all know. You got Save, you got Lazar, you got Rolando Aarons. There's a couple of others in there swimming around somewhere that they know they're not going to get as bigger wages and bigger contracts at any other club. So they know once they leave us next summer, it's only downhill from there in terms of their financial package. So all they're doing is holding on. Look, Henry Sarve's had the options of going to other clubs, permanent moves over the last 6 to 8 weeks. He is on the best part of 50 grand a week at Newcastle. He's not going to get. He'd be looking to get half of that anywhere else, and he knows it. Rolando Aarons the same. Rolando Aarons will probably drop down into League Two when he leaves Newcastle, and he knows that in terms of what clubs will offer him in terms of contracts. So he is not gonna. He's not going to ruin an opportunity to see out another year and take that money. But it just shows you the mentality of the player. You know, Henry Sarve sat on his bum for a season last year, wasn't even in the squad, and was happy to just train day in, day out, sitting on that money. You know, Rolando Aarons was the same, although he went on a couple of loans, didn't really do anything. Lazar is the same, happy to sit in Serie B and play random football for some second-rate team. And even then he was on the bench. You had Jack Cole back last season that did the same. That his family were all sick. His family lived in Nottingham when he was on loan at Forest, and then he came back to Newcastle and wasn't in the squad. He commuted from Nottingham every day. His family were based in Nottingham, so that move was in place for God knows how long.
Yeah, he said Colback's stealing a living. Lee's gone on to say Portuguese windows open for a week. We're not Wolves, mate, so I don't know. That's more Wolves' realm, Portuguese league. We're more the League One, or I don't know where we are. In fact, we're more England now, aren't we?
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he'll be back. Cruel to be kind, saying Savage grinning in training like a Cheshire cat. So yeah. What about you, Sharky? Any ones that we can try and get rid of in the next year?
Let's be honest, it's either clubs are just not taking that risk. Obviously, with what's going on, the pandemic, they don't want to maybe pay the wages of those players. If they're not playing football and they don't believe they're good enough, then they're not going to take them, unfortunately. What they're going to do is they're going to wait until the contracts are run down, get them on a free, maybe come to terms there. But I think, unfortunately, they're just going to be sat on the backside taking whatever they're earning for the rest of the season. But let's be fair, there's nothing to really worry about because we've got our side, we've got the players that we can pick from. Just let them do what they want to do, and we can just kick on forward. You know what I mean? I mean, we've made a lot of mistakes in the past, but I feel like now we're starting to really get it with the side now. You know, with the players that we'll have, we're using the right players in the right positions. But like I say, there is a few in there that have got an ego problem, but like I say, they haven't really got long left on the contract of this. So
Liam reckons that Aarons will end up at a team like Accrington and Stanley. Oh,
yeah, I agree.
Wow, that's embrace, man. Newcastle to Stanley.
Well, can I just say something about Wickham? I mean, he had that big chance at Wickham. I know they're not a club with loads of money, but how on earth did that not work out? Because yes, they got promoted last season, but you're thinking Aaron surely would be their best player, like hands down.
Yeah.
Obviously, got Akinfenwa. He's a brilliant player as well, but for experience, Rolando Aarons, who's played against some of the better sides, how did that not work out? And then he went and was it Motherwell? How did that not work out either? Like Scottish side? There's got to be an ego problem there with the player or the players. If you're talking about Saive as well and a few others.
Yeah.
If you look at Barlaser and how Barlaser did at Rotherham, and obviously he's now gone back there on a permanent deal. He was their best player. They literally waited for him to be available and then signed him permanently. You would expect Rolando Aarons having a decent spell at Sheffield Wednesday to be doing well at some of these other lower clubs. But again, it's about mentality. He's had a few things off the pitch as well, which haven't helped. A little bit narrow Ranger-esque issues off the pitch. So that's not helped. And it just shows you the sort of the mentality of the lad, really, which is a shame because when he came on the scene under Pardew, he had some real talent, but his injuries let him down. Just as he was getting up to speed, he'd have an injury that set him back for 2 or 3 months, and then he never really came back the same player after those injuries. But look, I know we're coming towards the end. I've had a question that's been running through my mind for a while now, and it might be slightly controversial. I don't know, but do we think that Dwight Gale will play for the club again?
Well, he'll play a few games, won't he, over the season? But I think this is his last season at the club. I can't see him being here much longer. I'm at the point now where I believe we could do better.
The reason why I say that is because he's not going to be firing on all cylinders until well into January. Okay, that's if we start playing him. Now, with Wilson playing up front, and if he's fit, and if Carroll remains fit, he's third choice. So he's not going to be playing much football. Now, you've got a lad on there that's on, 40, 50 grand a week in the last 6 months of his contract, who's third choice in the team, who hasn't got the best injury record. I've been convinced for a while now, from when he got his injury, that we won't see him play for us again, and that he'll secure a sort of a deal at a championship club for a small fee in January and go and play football elsewhere. And I've been convinced on it for a while now, but I didn't know what other people thought about that situation, or whether it was something that was likely to happen. I've just got a feeling that he'll stay in the squad until he's fit, and then I think they'll secure him a move in. We'll probably use one of those loans to secure another striker to see us through the second end of the season, someone that's available.
Can I just quick talk about Dwight Gale for you? I was saying when he was at West Brom and he was banging in those goals, like the 20+ goals, I thought he was gone there and then. Then I think that would have been the right time to let him go. You know, we could have got a fee there and then. But yeah, like I say, I think with Dwight Gale, yeah, he's too injury prone, isn't he? I mean, I just don't think he really is what we need right now. I think we need to, get rid of him at the end of the season and then look to bring in somebody else.
No, you know what? I'm a bit on and off with Gale. I think can be probably one of our better strikers. He's got everything, the finishing, pace. Obviously, there's always this thing about, can he cut it in the Premier League and all the rest of it. I like him. Do you know what I mean? He definitely did the job for us in the Championship. Even in the Premier League, he did score some important goals that season when he scored against Chelsea and Man United. I still think he's got a job to do at Newcastle. Will it be the same job that he's had before when he was in the Championship? Probably not, because.
Is that the grass cutting, or is that the putting the goalposts up, or what's his job?
$10K a week, you still take it.
Remain in the treatment room, or I don't know what it is.
It might be, but I still think he can play. Put it this way, I still think he can play. I don't want him to be one of those players that comes back to kind of prove us wrong, because we've had plenty of them over the years where they come back and then score against us. But even like some of what people are saying here as well, like Liam saying Gale will go to a team like Norwich. I can see that. Iceman saying that Gale and Wilson up front sounds good to me, as long as Gale stays fit. So potentially he could have something going forward. I'm just going to post the last question, and this comes from Greg Binns, and it's only because you shouted me out, Greg. Otherwise, I would have gone by now. He says, do you guys think Newcastle will ever make it back to the Champions League seriously? And if so, how long will it take? Let's keep this one short, because I know we could be here for hours on this one. Boy.
Well, I think realistically, Europa League's the best that we could do under this ownership, if it's possible. If we get a takeover, it is possible, but you got to remember now, with so much money in the game, there's more clubs with more money to work with. Wolves, your Everton, again, you've got like Leicester and whatnot, so it's going to be tougher, isn't it? But never say never. But in terms of how long, I really don't know. It could take as long as it takes.
How long is a piece of string? That's what I would say.
Exactly.
What are you saying, mate?
I think under a Saudi ownership, and I'll be very specific with what I'm saying, under a Saudi ownership, we'll be back in the Champions League. It's under Mohammed bin Salman, PIF, we'll be back in the Champions League. It's pretty much nailed on. It's only really the timeline that is a question mark. Under Mike Ashley, I don't even think we get in Europe.
We're back in the Championship.
We're more likely to be back in the Championship in the Champions League. And you know what? That's not even a joke. That's just a reality. That's a fact. You know, we'd be more likely to get Championship football than Champions League football. But even then, under Mike Ashley, I don't even see us getting Europa League. That's just my opinion. I think we'll do enough to get mid-table, top 10 if we're lucky, and that's your lot. So that's just my opinion on both things. I think it depend on new owners with a financial backing that's going to be able to really kick us on. You look at Everton, for example, that have had a new owner now for 3 or 4 years, that have spent, coming on now to $500 million in terms of transfer fees, and they're only now 4 years on looking like a team that could get into Europe this season with the likes of James Rodriguez, Calvert-Lewin playing well. There's still question marks in my head about him being a long-term solution over the course of the full season, although he started very well. But that's taken 4 years. So, and there's still no guarantees there, having spent nearly £500 million. So, I just don't see it under Mike Ashley.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I just think we had the opportunity last season to potentially do it, and we got a nosebleed, and we got scared and got worried, and our brains were already on the beach somewhere, and our bodies were just, running around a football field for 90 minutes. So I can't see it, to be honest with you. But that brings it to a close. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Thank you again to Sharky. Thank you again to Pete, as always, mate. The game's tomorrow at 8 p.m. It's £15, which I'll be, of course, spending to watch the game. And then we'll be back on here immediately afterwards with my throwing pack, shall I mention as well, Lee? So, yeah, please join us after the game.
Say what, Brody, if we win the game tomorrow, it might just grow a little bit bigger.
It might just grow a little bit bigger. I might even have a little Gucci headband around it as well if ASM scores a worldie.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening. Take care of yourselves and enjoy your weekend, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
See you later.
See you later,
boys.